Phillips reporting for Portland Public Access Channel 2, Maine. We're here at the USM, University of Southern Maine Glickman Library, 7th floor. Tonight's presentation is about tar sands invasion to Maine. Stop dirty tar sands oil from coming through Maine. Presented this evening, Thursday, February 9th at 7 o'clock, 2012.
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Huh?
You need an audio check.
No, thank you.
Yeah, my water, there you go. Water for right.
And where are you from? You were.
Well, I happen to have a mile of
Okay.
Do you? What flows through it? What flows through it? Standing room only, actually. Well, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone. My name is Glenn Brand. I'm the director of Sierra Club Maine, and very happy that to see such a turnout for such an issue that has both international, national, regional, and it appears now local impact. I wanted to start things by telling everyone that this forum is being recorded, videotaped, and for the radio. So we're going to ask everybody to turn off your cell phones now. Appreciate that. The issue that we're going to be talking about tonight in the public forum is in part very well known to a lot of people. The dirty tar sands oil project called Keystone XL became quite a controversial and I would say dramatic issue in the last year, particularly in the last few months. Thousands and thousands of Americans expressed their opposition to the project that would bring dirty tar sands oil from Alberta, Canada, through the Midwest, Nebraska, into Texas and the Gulf Coast. And then last month, we were all delighted to see President Obama deny a permit for that project. That project's not done, though. You may have heard that there's an attempt in the Congress to bypass or circumvent the president's decision to allow the Keystone project to move forward. And in fact, there is a bill in Congress, there is a Senate bill that we're expecting to go to the floor next week. Right now, Senators Snowe and Collins, our senators in Maine, have yet, thankfully, to co-sponsor that bill. There are 3 Republicans to date who have not co-sponsored that bill, and 2 of them are our senators. Very important. In fact, it may turn on what they decide to do. It's very important for our senators to hear from Maine citizens, and everyone should have a copy of this postcard, and there should be one on your seat, or if you picked one up. Extraordinarily important that folks express what they feel about the Keystone project and what we want our senators to do. Well, please take a moment and fill this out. And then even more importantly, and you'll notice there's 2 postcards, one to Senator Snowe, one to Collins, so do both. And then this is the really important part. Please drop it off in one of those 2 boxes on your way out, and we are going to package them up and send them off. This is also a way for you to stay involved in this campaign, to understand what's going forward. And so important to put your contact information, particularly your email. So thank you very much for doing that. Very important. Tonight, we're honored to have several national dirty tar sands oil experts, pipeline experts, in town. And you have in front of you their full biographies, and I won't read those to you. But we do have Jim Murphy, who's a senior counsel to the National Wildlife Federation, who is a resident of Vermont here. We have Kate Colarulli, Associate Campaign Director of the Sierra Club's Beyond Coal campaign, my colleague. And Danielle Droitz, who is a senior attorney with the National Resources Defense Council International Program, and she directs their Canada project. They're all going to be talking about the tar sands projects, give you some background on what tar sands are, what the implications of such a dirty resource is. And then we're also going to be talking about this very real threat that dirty tar sands oil can come to Maine. And so you'll be hearing all about that and what we can do to stop it. To set the stage and explain the context, we're very happy to have Dylan Borges here. He is the Natural Resources Council of Maine's Clean Energy Director, and he'll start the program off by talking about the issues that we are going to be exploring tonight. Dylan?
Thank you, Glenn, and welcome everybody on behalf of NRCM. My name is Dylan Voorhees. I'm the Clean Energy Director for the Natural Resources Council. Many of you know we're a state-based environmental advocacy organization working in many different areas to protect Maine's environment with 10,000 members and supporters. Many of them are in this room across the state. And before I start, I want to give a particular thank you to Emmy Taberge, who's the Energy Outreach Coordinator. She may still be in the hallway, but Emmy did yeoman's work to put today's event together, and so I want to thank her. So as Glenn said, it's no secret that we're addicted to oil in this country, and that Maine, of course, has its share of overdependence on oil. And it's also no secret there's a battle going on to determine our energy future. And this is the last century was one that was powered by coal and oil, and those industries are doing everything they can to keep us addicted to those fuels and keep their subsidies, keep their profits. Last year was a record-breaking profit year for big oil companies, the big 5 oil companies. And they're spending millions of dollars to lobby Congress to keep that, and as Glenn just alluded to. And among the fronts of this larger battle over oil and our energy future is efforts to export massive amounts of tar sands crude oil from Canada to feed that oil addiction. And of course, the Keystone XL is perhaps the most prominent proposal, and that's one that already Maine people have been involved in. Over 100 people have headed down to Washington, D.C. To join others in protesting the Keystone Pipeline. And I'm sure there are some of you. Raise your hand if you've been to D.C. There you go. What's less known is the fact that Maine has an oil pipeline to Canada, and it could be the next focus in efforts to bring tar sands crude oil to the United States. And that is a cause for some concern, and one that we want Maine people to learn more about, and the potential risks that could bring. As you'll hear in more detail, tar sands is not like conventional oil. And that's very important to understand, and it's true from lots of different perspectives, and our speakers will talk about that. And there are impacts for the climate, for the boreal forest, and a host of other impacts that would concern any environmentally minded person. But the impacts closer to home are also very concerning. The pipeline that flows from here in Portland up to Montreal and across Ontario flows right by Sevago Lake, which is the drinking water that supplies Portland. And so risks from transporting a different substance are important to understand from that perspective. And I want to I want to draw your attention to this map for a minute, because I think it's important to understand what's going on, what's not yet going on. As you can see, this is part of a pipeline flowing here from Sarnia in Ontario over to Montreal, and that's owned by a company called Enbridge, which is one of the largest pipeline companies in North America. And then it flows down the pipeline that connects us here in Portland. And right now, oil flows from tankers here in Portland up to Montreal and west to refineries in Ontario. And that's what's happening right now. The proposal that concerns us is a proposal to reverse the flow of oil from Ontario to Montreal and ultimately to Portland. And the purpose of a reversal is that it would be to match that flow of oil with the larger flow of oil out of Alberta, where the tar sands, huge amounts of tar sands are landlocked. And of course, the markets are the United States and global markets. Maine's harbor is the only big port on the eastern seaboard that's connected to this pipeline network. And just the same pressures to get tar sands out from Keystone is part of the same economic pressure to drive this. Now, this company, Enbridge, has already proposed to reverse the flow of a portion of this pipeline. And the reason that we're concerned about that is because over the last several years, the companies involved have talked very openly about the possibility, and they say they are currently in discussion about reversing the flow for the entire pipeline. And there's lots more details that I think we'll need to be learning about as this unfolds. Currently, the Canadian Energy Board is reviewing the reversal of this portion of the pipeline. And that's a public process. Thanks to the efforts of environmental organizations, it's an open public process now. And I think we'll learn more about the intentions to reverse the flow over the whole project as that goes forward over the course of 2012. So, as I said, that's something that is an alarming possibility. It is very active. We proposed for a portion of the line, not currently a plan that's being discussed for the main pipeline, but it's a concern that we need to start learning about now, and for reasons that our speakers will get into. So it's time to get the facts about tar sands and tar sands oil and tar sands pipelines, and for Maine to understand what it means, or what it could mean for our environment, our climate, our waters. That's the discussion that people have been having in Nebraska about the Keystone Pipeline, and one that we unfortunately need to start having here. So I'm very pleased to join with Glenn in welcoming our speakers for the evening, and I hope that you will learn a lot from them, as I already have today. So Kate, you want to start? You have the clicker?